So good morning. Big topic today, credit. Um, we will say this class usually ended. We typically take longer because of the questions. So we want to mention that at the beginning, just in case.
If you need to go you need
Yeah.
to go to service or whatever, be free to leave.
Yes.
Or we can stay here to answer any questions.
Yeah. We'll try to close it timely, but we know a lot of times there's a lot of questions in this topic, so just wanted to quickly mention. Agenda, introduction to credit. Building credit score, increasing credit score, disputing, and final tips and any questions.
Quick question for you guys.
Okay.
Quick question. What is the credit score?
What is the credit score?
Yep. What is credit? Credit
Oh,
score.
their way of tracking to see if you pay your bills or if you're delinquent, if you've been bankrupt. So they can keep up with you, know whether they wanna lend you money or not.
Yep.
And what is the credit score or a credit report? And what is the difference the credit score and credit report?
One is just a reflection of what's on the report. The score is a reflection of what's on the report.
Yeah.
Most.
The score is a reflection of how well you manage your debt, whereas, can't think of an,
Okay. Anyone else? Credit?
Well, the report is that when you delinquent or you've done and they hand it over to other people to see, oh, well, she's a bad debtor, is that what the?
No, the better way to see the credit report is like the test. So that's your whole history, all your debt, everything that you have, and the credit score is the grade. You take it, it's like, this is my credit report, what grade the bank institutions gave me to me in my credit history. That's the easy way to see it.
Yeah.
One is the test, and the other is the grade that they gave you, like she was saying, how well you're good with dealing with that.
So it is a numerical representation of credit worthiness, right? So the bank needs to know who they give their money to, right? You can't just go to show up to someone and say, hey, I need money from you. Can you just lend it to me? They're gonna be like, well, I actually need to check on you first, right? So it's credit worthiness. And they do that by looking at past history. Okay? So like he was mentioning, there's a report, that's your past history, and then you basically get graded with a numerical representation of what that report says or has based on your history. Okay? And we like to throw in here a few Bible verses. We always like to start with some scripture. Proverbs 22:7. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender. It warns us about the dangers of debt and how it can lead us to financial bondage. Romans 13:8. Let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another, for whoever loves others has fulfilled the law. It encourages us to pay off debts and prioritizing love over financial obligations. Okay? Then the last one we want to mention before we move on with the topic, Psalm 37:21. The righteous are generous and give, while the wicked borrow but don't pay back. It stresses the importance of integrity and repaying back debt.
If you read, we mentioned like two class ago, if you read the book, Dave Ramsey don't know like talk about credit, but to have a credit score, you need debt. If you don't have debt, you don't have a credit score. That this class is a little bit, but we know like in real life you need mortgage, car loan. That's why we want to talk about this class, but at the same time we want you to be financial conscious before making a debt decision.
Yeah, so Dave doesn't believe in debt, but we always like to cover credit because we do leverage, to acquire mortgage, to acquire cars. We do leverage it, so we want to make sure that we cover it. Okay. So what is credit score? It's like I mentioned, it's a score between 300 and 850 given to you by 3 major credit bureaus based on your past behaviors that determine the likelihood that you will repay the loans in a timely manner. And then, like we mentioned, it's based on past behaviors. What are those past behaviors? Like listed here, the number of accounts, the kinds of debts, recent hard inquiries, utilization percentage, and payment history. So who determines credit score?
Right now, you see that we have 3 companies, but technically there's only 2 that do it. FICO, that's Fair Isaac Corporation. That's what FICO means. And then the Vantage Point. But these 3 companies are the ones that calculate your numbers. TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. But there's 2 financial models. FICO, that's like the almost everyone knows about it. And then we had a new one that started in 2006. It's called Vantage Point. We're going to talk about that one later on.
So, why does credit score matter? Why does it matter? Anyone?
What's the credit score matter?
Because it will determine who will lend you money to buy that car or that house. It'll determine if they think you're worthy enough to lend you the money and how much you'll get.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And just to give you a backstory, before credit score in 1989, how they give you the money?
Based on what you have.
Technically, but before 1989, the problem is there was a lot of racial bias, stuff like because it was only at the discretion of the lender. That's like in 1989, they make the beacon, that was called the Equifax beacon, that was the fair credit score number. It's like to try to prevent any racial bias from making the decision. Instead of someone making a decision, this is a number, you have it or you don't have it. And that's it. That's the main reason the credit score. That way, take out human decision and they only give you, this is your credit score, that's our parameter. You're out or you're in. That's the main reason the credit score. It's for the number to make the decision instead of the human.
Okay. So yeah, so it matters because it affects the ability to get loans, credit card, like you were mentioning, and other financial products. And it can also affect the interest rate you get those. Okay. And which credit bureau is used by lenders? Anyone knows? If you're getting let's say a mortgage or you're buying a car, which one do they use between TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian?
And don't they use them all?
Don't they use them all? Who else?
I thought they used them all too, because whenever you get anything back, it says based on these 3, yeah. Whenever you get anything back, it says this has been determined based on, so.
So it depends on what you are acquiring. So, and on the lender. So let's say if you're trying to get a mortgage, mortgages are higher risk than a car, right? Because of the value. So because it's a higher risk, lenders will most likely take the reports from all 3 of them. And when they look at that, they would typically, in terms of score, because the scores may look different on all 3 of them, they would typically, we don't know, but they would typically go with the middle score when you're doing the mortgage. However, if you are acquiring a car, because it's a lower risk, the lender may decide, maybe I don't need to pull all 3 reports, I'll just pull 1. And it's the one that they decide. So whichever they prefer, they can just take just 1.
But that's for the FICO score. Now there's a new one that the 3 companies of before, they combined forces in 2006 and create their own financial model. Instead of having 3 different numbers, they only have 1 number for all 3. And that's the plan. And now in the last year, 18% of banking institutions start using that one over the FICO. That's why you have to start paying attention to your Vantage Point now, because for a lot of special decision, lenders are going more with that score than the regular FICO score. And you have to check both scores.
Yes. So if you think about it, FICO and Vantage, as we mentioned, they're models. These are private companies, so they're formulas, what they use to calculate that number. We will go over the factors that affect that formula, but we don't have the exact formula because it is private. Okay, so the three bureaus decided, let's come together, us, and do our own formula. And that's what Vantage is. And we're gonna go over in the next few slides what those factors, what factors affects those formulas.
And the other different vantage point is like they use AI to calculate your score.
Yeah.
That's they use machine learning.
Yep. Yep. And and when we were looking some information on Vantage, 8 out of 10 of the top banks are already using more Vantage score over FICO score for higher risk loans.
Because it's more precise.
Because it's more precise.
It's-
And let's keep going. So how is FICO calculated?
Out of this, which one is the biggest? You think is the biggest area, the biggest weight in the formula?
So between payment history, total debt owed, length of credit history, new or recent credit, and types of credit.
Within all 5 in this one, with the FICO, it's 100%. Out of those 5, which one is the biggest one?
Type of credit.
I know. Which one?
Type of credit.
Type of
Credit.
How much percent do you think? Out of 100%.
100%, maybe 37.
37.
Blank.
Length, how much percentage?
I'm gonna go with like about 30-40% because how long it took you to do it.
So it was actually in order. So payment history is number 1, 35%. 35% is payment history. 30% it's amount owed. 50% length of credit, and 10% for new credit and types of credit.
And let's talk in each one. Payment history, that's how well are you paying your bill on timely. The difference here is like timely. Like if you miss a payment and the bank institution send it to your credit report, because they have the power to send it or not send it to the credit report. If they send it to the credit report, some bank institution give you like a, let's say like, I'm going to give you 1 month to pay it, of grace period to pay it. If not, we're going to send it to the report. If you're not paying that grace period, well, that's each bank institution is their own word. That depends how the bank institution. If go to your credit, it's going to stay for 7 years. Just in case, and for you to see like increase in your score of paying time, you have to wait 6 months. But you have to remember, you have that grace period, but that grace period is each bank institution is their own word. If they want to do it, they do it. They don't want to do it. Normally they do it because of the paperwork, but that depends only of the bank institution.
So if you have a late payment, like you said, it's gonna stay in your report. It could stay 7 years. It depends on the type of loan or account as well. So some of them could be less time. Other loans could be more time. Some of them, like student loans, may be in your report basically forever. But the weight of that delinquency goes down, right? So it will stay in your report, but as time goes by and you stay on time with the subsequent payments, then the weight of it is going to go down, if that makes sense. Okay. So 35% is just paying on time. What if you pay late? Don't forget to catch up. So you need to do like a double payment to kind of catch up, because a lot of times you miss a payment and a lot of people pay that amount that they owe from the previous month, but then you need to make sure that you do previous month plus current. And that's when you're gonna be current, right? If you're just making one payment, and it's always gonna be late. So you need to make sure if you do make one payment late, make sure to do like a catch-up payment so that you're current.
If you don't make it the cash flow, you're going to be something your client would call like a rollover, 30-day rollover. I mean, like you're always late.
You're always late.
And this is going to show in your credit report.
Amount owed, 30%.
That is like your utilization part of. You have two. Normally, the big one is your utilization. What is the utilization?
Like you have, I don't know, 15, but you only utilize 1,000.
Correct.
Normally, they want you to be at less than 30%. I mean, like you have a credit card that give you $10,000. The bank doesn't want you to be at the end of each month over $3,000.
That's for the total, right?
The total,
All of
like let's say you have a total $10,000 available to for you in debt. The bank does not want you to go over that $3,000.
Then why they give me to you?
Because
Then they want you to beat that. They want you to go over that and use it and
if
use it and
if
use
you go over that 30%, your scores start going down. If you start 30 to like between 30 to 50%, 15, your score is not going down, but it's not going up that much. Less than 10%, that's when you have your score really high.
Any
Which
questions
one
on
done
that?
that one? That's right. Every time you have a credit card, remember, only use 30%. At the end of the month, be 30% or less of the amount. If you don't want your credit score to be affected. And some people, how you're going to see, you want to play the game, you're going to see, with the card utilization, I can open another card, I increase my amount. If you increase the denominator, utilization. But you have to remember, you do that one, you also increase how much money you have in your debt that you can,
Risk.
the risk, and that one also can affect your, because now you have more money that you can, because for Vantage score, they take to account that one. How much money you can, if you want to use it, you can use it. FICO doesn't put it that much, but Vantage Point take to account how much debt you can incur if you have the opportunity. If you go to the slide, one more to Vantage. You see one of them, they have age and means new credit balance, and available credit. Available credit is one of the
Your category.
category. FICO doesn't have it, Vantage have it. If you use more in your Vantage Point, can go down. And so it affects less because of the percentage, but it's going to affect you also. And you have to be sure when you're playing the game how it affected you, because now you have to take to account Vantage score. Like she was saying, 8 out of the 10 biggest bank, not prefer this one.
For higher risk loan special.
I saw something yesterday that the girl was saying, you guys going to talk about not to close any accounts?
Mhm. But you can go.
Sorry.
You can go.
Yeah, it's just in regards to
Yes.
that. So, we recommend that you don't close your accounts because then your credit can be impacted. So she said if your credit card, for example, is the one that has a high annual fee, okay? So you can call them and ask for a downgrade on your credit card to one that doesn't have any fees instead of canceling that one specifically. So your account remains open and doesn't affect you in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
I
No,
never
it
thought
makes
about
sense.
it, so,
No, that makes sense.
yeah.
I'm sorry, excuse me, would that include any let's say JCPenney
Mm-hmm.
credit account?
Yeah, but that's a credit card.
So I
Yeah,
have a
Cause I'm
question.
about to close it, cause I don't, to me,
It
having.
depends.
It's
It
your
de-
oldest one?
Yeah, that's what I
No,
was
it's
going
one
to
of
say.
the newest,
Yeah.
maybe a
Yeah.
year
Just
ago.
don't use it.
But because I never use it, I'd rather to, pay, if I don't have the money, I decided not to spend.
Do they,
I have
do
the
they
money and I
have,
pay,
but here, the thing, do they have a fee or something that you have to pay?
like an annual fee
Annual fee?
to have the
No.
account open?
That's a good question.
No, they don't.
They
But I
don't?
think in
Yeah.
this
But
case,
it's like, I was gonna ask you about that because I have opinions.
Mhm.
And I stopped using it about 3 years ago. It's like every now and then I get a little email, if you don't use it, we'll close it. Does that hurt? I was gonna ask you.
Yeah, that we're going to go down. If you see
Okay.
the third one is the length of credit history.
Because I was I'm sorry for
No.
interrupting.
No,
but,
you can
the
go.
reason I came back to refresh this class is because I was getting for a whole year a credit score of 860 something.
Mhm.
I mean, every month of the whole year. And then boom, all of a sudden, I went to visit my sister, you know, in Miami, and I didn't have a bathing suit. Let's go and get it. Why don't you just, you know, use your JCPenney card? And I said, okay, let's use it. And because I don't use it, I
Yes.
forgot to make the payment.
Mhm.
And so I was late, and then the next month they have my wrong address as well, so I didn't know nothing. And boom, my credit score dropped instantly, like 600 something, and it's been hard now to lift it up. And I pay all that you said, the day that I was behind, and then the next month and the
Mhm.
next month, I did that.
Yeah.
But then I said, I
But
don't
because
want more.
it's
You
going
just
to
keep
take-
it going.
It's going to go up, but it's going to take at least 6 or 7 months for you to see it.
yeah.
It will go little by little, going up gradually.
Okay, I'm just, I was so hurt by just a JCPenney
Yeah,
credit card.
don't close it right now.
Don't
then.
don't
So
don't-
don't
don't-
close
if
it
you
right
if it
now.
doesn't have a fee associated with it that you're paying annually,
Okay,
then we would
Just for a
recommend
few
not.
months,
Yes.
you will go back.
Yeah, so the length of the credit history is 50%, 15% approximately of that weight in the formula. And what this is older accounts boost the score. Because longer credit histories are considered less risky. In the eyes of the lenders, in the eyes of the bank, it is a less risk. That's why we wouldn't recommend closing accounts, because anything that you've had for a while and you were making your payments on time and your utilization is low, it's part of your history and it's considered less risky. The lenders are gonna see you as less risky because they're gonna see, so she's had this account for X amount of time, she's been paying it on time, and she's in the utilization, her utilization is good.
to the
So,
left.
sorry. So it's my third oldest card. I don't wanna tell you how long I've had. Anyway, so if they close it, that hurts me. So you're saying I should use it?
But that depends.
something
But that, but
$10,000.
no, but that depends. That's what I'm going to say. That depends if you're planning to buy something with your credit score. That each one is different. You don't count your. Let's say you're not planning to buy a house or a car. You can close it because it's going to go up again. This is only
Okay.
if you're planning to use your credit score.
Yeah.
Let's say you're planning to buy a car or buy a mortgage and you need your
Good.
credit score the highest, don't close any account. But if you're not planning to do anything, then
Okay.
you can close it because
And then it goes back.
it goes
Yeah,
back
no,
up.
cause they sent me this little thing, if you don't use it, we're gonna
But,
close
yeah.
it. So after last week, I was like, well, will that hurt me? I'm not closing it, they're closing it, cause
But-
I'm not using
But
it.
it's going to hurt you, but it's for a short time.
Short term, okay.
But let's say you want to buy a house or a car, now in the near future, use it that way you have the history. But if you're not planning to use your credit score for the next 4 or 3 months, you don't have to care that much.
Do you guys know if, I read somewhere that it depends on the brand, for example, the Visa, Amex, they have more weight than the little one, the star ones when it comes to,
That one I really don't know.
Yeah, we would need to do a little research on
yeah,
that.
I read that somewhere, you know, that when you're
Yeah.
building, but this is for when you're building.
Correct.
The score, I'm not sure when you
Mhm.
close it, it's something that we might be able to look into it.
Yeah. We
'Cause
can
when you're
look,
building, they recommend to get, you know, good
right,
credit cards.
we can
and
definitely look
testing.
into it, but it's obviously gonna be, we're not gonna know exactly, right? Because again, these formulas, they're privately owned, right? So, it depends. I wouldn't doubt it that they look at bigger
Yeah,
banks for certain items,
Yeah,
or
and
for
like
certain-
everything that we say, guys, we always have to keep in mind that all depends in your situation,
Yes.
right? In the your financial phase in your life, there are some things that you gotta put more effort into it, and don't care about other ones because it's just for a period of time that you're working towards something. So we give you guys a lot of information here in general, but that's why we always say sometimes individually, it's gotta, you need to do something a little different than what we're saying here, just so you can get to your goal and objectives, right?
Yeah, no, it's definitely fact-based, like we were just mentioning. If you're not planning to, if you already paid off your mortgage, if you have a paid-off car, then does it really matter if you close an account and your credit score goes down for a little bit? Probably not, right? Because you're not planning to do anything with it. But if you are trying to acquire a mortgage, a loan, then there's some planning, right? You do some planning around it. And one of them is not closing accounts so that you can keep that history, which shows that you're less risky.
And just something, if you pay your mortgage, your credit score is going to go down by a lot.
Yeah.
Just in case, because if you pay your mortgage, normally mortgage your longest one, you list your payment history, your credit utilization is going to go affect also because you don't have that debt anymore. That means you have less available credit, and then your line of credit history also get affected. That normally when you pay your mortgage, normally people think, I pay my mortgage, my credit is going to go way up. It's the inverse. It goes down in the beginning.
And then
It's going to pick up, but after the day that you pay it, the next month you're going to see a big
drop.
because you lose your mostly us normal people, our mortgage is our biggest history of debt. Just in case.
That's incredible.
But doesn't it stay on your?
No, but when you pay, they
Yeah.
took out that history, or you don't have any debt anymore.
Oh.
That is a way. That's what we say. If you close it's like closing an account.
Yeah.
You pay the mortgage, you close the account. You don't have the bank doesn't have that account anymore for you.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like
But that-
crazy, I didn't know that
Yeah.
because I bought some land and I paid it off a couple years ago, and my score went down, I'm like,
But if
I
it,
paid it off early, I'm thinking that's a pat on the back.
it's going to go
And
up
then I
quickly.
paid off the car like a month
It's-
later, and it went down again, and I'm like,
But it's going to go up.
It did, but I just- I
but in the
didn't understand
beginning,
that
and then
part.
if you feel the next month or the next few months, it's going to go down. Don't be surprised because you lose your history and you lose all those three components at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, we had people that had asked us, I pay off my mortgage and it went down. I'm like, are you planning to get another one? He's like, no. I would be fine if I pay out my mortgage. I'm okay getting a drop of 200 points. I'm blessed. I pay off my mortgage. It will go up eventually,
Yeah.
right? But if you're not planning to acquire another house temporarily, I'm fine with that. If you pay it off early, that's another blessing. You save money on interest, right?
yeah.
That's a bigger saving than just a credit score. So again, it's about planning and the goal. If your goal is to pay off your mortgage and you're not trying to get something else afterwards, then it's okay that it drops. It will go up eventually. Okay?
Another 6 months, another year.
It depends on your
Underline.
on the land and on your financial condition.
Yeah.
So
The rest of it.
if your financial goal is to be debt free, what I'm hearing is that your credit score is gonna go down if you get debt free. If you wanna use credit as a contingency plan, I guess it just would benefit us to just have like one car open.
Yeah.
Your oldest one.
Oldest one.
Your oldest one because that one's have the biggest
History.
history in use.
Okay, and just like small payments?
Yes, and use it at least once every whatever they tell you for not to close it. Use it and pay it.
Yeah, just use it every now and then so that it keeps the account open.
And remember, if you get to this point where you're debt free, you probably are able to manage some other things on the side.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like today with me and my husband, we do have things which we're gonna tell everybody in general. Don't use credit cards for rewards. just because of it, you know. So that there are some things that when you get to that point, you're probably financially stable and you have managed your money well to get to this point where you can use credit cards for certain other things to bring you money instead of taking money away. Okay?
And the last two is the new credit and type of credit use, going really fast because of time
Time.
sake. New credit, that's, for example, if you going to buy something, like you go to Home Depot and they say, let me run your credit score to see if you qualify, that's going to affect your credit. That's the reason, if you're planning to buy a house or something, do
Yeah.
not open a new account because it's going to show in your credit report and they're going to say, we deny you the mortgage.
Yeah, so
That's
new
the reason.
inquiries.
Is that the reason? Do not open, if you're planning to buy something big, do not open any new account.
Yeah.
Can
So,
I ask
inquiries.
One question, I have, my credit was, I paid my house off and my credit was like in the 800s and, I went to buy and I've never bought a new car before. And I went, wasn't new, a used car, but I went to, a car dealer to get, and I got a loan, okay, a small loan. And they're like, oh, have you ever bought a new car before? And I said, no. And they're like, I said, but I have an 800. And I go, that don't matter. You know, like, because I never bought a new home, they're like, couldn't really give me a good interest rate. So I had to go to my bank and get a decent interest rate. And they were saying because I had never bought a car before, they said car loans and home, they're totally different.
They're different. You have auto loan and mortgage. They use different
So
scores.
I didn't know that. So
There's two different.
why is that though?
Because the credit bureau decided to do it that way to make differentiations between the asset.
Yeah, and the risk.
That you have
Because of
FICO loan, you have FICO auto, and FICO mortgage. They're two different scores.
They're different score and they're different levels of risk. A loan and a card.
It couldn't be that the bank, the dealer wanted just to get more money out of him.
No, it's like there's
No?
two different financial models. It's called that way: FICO auto, FICO house,
Mortgage, yeah.
mortgage,
Home.
home, and they go. That's the other one that we show you, the Vantage Point, combine everything. But FICO have two different, and that's because dealer use FICO auto because that's the norm, and whatever you have in that score is the one that they're going to give you.
Okay.
So again, but the factors are similar, right? So if they don't see any history, if they don't see payments,
It's because you don't have
you
any
didn't
history.
have
You don't have the history for them
to determine if you're risky or not.
No.
Well, I actually called my bank and then got a interest rate from them, and then when I submitted it, it's like it was a game changer. Now, like, okay, well, then they started
That's
like
why I-
finding all
Because you
this
went
better
because you
stuff.
went through your bank and your
Yes.
bank have your but the dealer they have to go whatever history you have in the auto,
Right,
and you don't have any history. The bank have your history because
Yeah.
of your mortgage.
correct.
But, so it's two different financial
They-
institutions.
Yeah, they have your history of potentially other accounts you may have,
Right.
like savings or checking accounts.
And anyway, we recommend, if you can, never close the deal at the dealership anyway, because they're gonna give you whatever they want or they need for quotas or and stuff. If you can actually go to your bank, or if you can come with, cash or whatever it is you can negotiate way better than being depending on what they're gonna give it to you. That's the best
And
way.
this one going to go really quick
Yeah.
because of time's sake. This is how much is what we call it your grade. 800 to 850. That's like A. 740 to 799 B. Yeah, that's like. And you see here the percentage is how much percentage of the U.S. population are in that scores.
And
Are
this is
you-
FICO.
And this is FICO score like the most. This is the right now Vantage score because AI learning, they go upgrades like an update. Right now we in last year, like at the end of last year, we've changed from the 3.0 to the 4.0. And this number can be changed because that depending how the AI is learning. Now as you see, it's Vantage score 4.0. The biggest difference is that we have, instead of 5, they have 6 criteria. And here you see a payment history for Vantage Point is way higher. Normally it's a 41, but because this is AI, this percentage can go up or down depending the person. It's not set in stone, just in case. If you go to Experian webpage, they don't even give you a percentage.
They don't give you.
They,
These are
they only give you a
estimated.
highly influential, less influential, or we don't care that much about that one.
Yeah.
But that's also here is really important, and this is the one, little by little, bank are going to start to use it because it's a business, and this one, the main advantage, all three have the same score. Instead of the FICO that each one can give you a different number, Vantage Point give you the same number because this is it was a union between all three to create this financial model.
The easiest way to see what the main difference between the FICO and the Vantage is that the Vantage, it examines the consumer's behavior over a period of time. FICO is more like a snapshot. You just take a snapshot of this time, but like he was saying, because they're using AI, they're tracking behavior, like everyday behavior. And that's why this percentages may look different for everyone.
And the last one going to say advantage, the biggest advantage for bank institution, for FICO, you have to have at least 6 months of the account to be open to have a credit score because they know history, or have Vantage Point because they use AI, they only need you to have open for 1 month. But they use 1 month and then they use with AI, they can say, this is our projection of your information with this amount of information. That's the other difference. This one only need 1 month of information to give you a score.
Okay. So we're gonna keep going quick. So quick summary here, how to increase your credit score. Paying your bills on time. We already mentioned it's 35% of the formula, 30 to 40% if it's Vantage. Paying your bills on time, lowering your utilization percentages. Anything that is less than 10% utilization will give you the most amount of points. Anything that is under 30% will give you some points, but you're gonna get more points, 10% or less. And then anything that is 50% or higher is gonna hurt your score. Okay? So keep that in mind. 30% or less, you're gaining points. 10% or less, you're getting the most amount of points. 50% or more, you're gonna lose the most amount of points. Okay? 2 more. Don't closing credit card accounts. We already talked about that, right? Because of the history. Don't close them. But if you do have a specific scenario or your facts that you want to discuss with any of us, just reach out and we can go over it. But in general, we wouldn't recommend to close an account because of the history. And the last one, correct any errors on your credit report. So you are entitled to 1 free credit report every year from all the 3 bureaus. You can get that report for free every year, and what you're gonna do with that is you're gonna review it line by line, making sure that every account listed in there, it's yours. You can check if there's any typos in names. If you have a very common name, my husband's name, it's very common. It's Luis Rivera. There's thousands of Luis Rivera. So there's a chance that someone that put that information in there put it to the wrong Luis Rivera. So he could potentially have someone else accounts in his report. So make sure that you look at those things. Make sure that it's you. Make sure that the account numbers showing in there are from your accounts. Social security number, sometimes there's typo. The person that types that in the report may miss the last number. They may have one number and put it to the wrong person. That could be you. You may be getting an account from someone else.
We're going to pray really quickly for people that need to leave to church. And we're going to continue the class, but this is only for the people. If you want to continue, we can continue, but we don't want to go really fast and miss some information. But
like 5 more minutes.
5 or 10 more minutes, but we're going to ask Dr. Cora to pray, and people that want to leave can leave, or people can stay, we can finish the class.
Shall we bow our heads? Father, we bless your name and we thank you. We thank you for the lesson. We thank you for the nuggets, my God. God, we thank you for teaching your people about what they need to do to keep their credit in the right order, that they may be rewarded brownie points from getting it right and manage finances according to your will. So bless each one, my God. Let them understand. And Father God, in a special way, we lift up the instructors before you. The time they spend with you, the time they spend putting the lesson together, my God, to bring it to us. As we go, my God, bless us all and help us to apply what thus saith the Lord. In Jesus' name, everyone say amen.
Amen.
We're going to continue, but whenever you need to go to church, please.
Feel free.
But going back to this section over here, this is really important to share your credit report. I was saying in the beginning, the credit report is the test. If something is wrong over here, it's going to affect your grade. That's your credit score. That's the reason we always say that to make sure you have one. And technically, you have 3 free each year, one for each
bureau.
Use advantage of that one because if something's not wrong, it's wrong here, it's going to affect your credit score.
So which credit one of the 3 do you suggest?
All 3.
All 3.
Because all 3, depending the bank institution, they can use whatever 3.
Yeah, so we were mentioning before, not depending on the asset that you acquire with the loan.
Okay.
So they don't necessarily use all 3 of them. So let's say a car, maybe they only use one of the bureaus. So it's good to check all of them.
And
that
technically,
they have, because there are 3 separate companies.
Right.
So
and
you want to make sure
they are
that
private company. The bank's going to use whoever give it the best price to them in that moment of time.
Yes.
It's not whoever. It's like they say, how much I have to pay you to have this number. Whoever give it them the cheaper, that's the one they're going to use.
So they're
That's why you have to use all 3.
So they're all 3 private, so it's good to just double check all 3 of them. Okay, and then and what's important here is if you do find there's a list here of common mistakes like identifying the personal info, mixed files, accounts that don't belong to you, invalid account number, duplicate accounts. Sometimes they may duplicate the same account in your report. Inaccurate payments, inaccurate balances, outdated negative item. What's important here is if you do find an error, you need to dispute it. Who is responsible to prove who is the owner of those accounts? Who is responsible? Is it your responsibility? Is it the bureau's responsibility? Is it the lender's responsibility?
Your account, your responsibility.
It's our responsibility.
No?
No.
Nope.
If you owe the money, it's the person said that you owe the money is the one responsible to show that you owe that. They have to have the support. I said, for example, you have a car loan, they have to have the support that you have the loan with that institution. They're the one responsible to show that you have the debt.
Yeah, so the credit bureau, the creditor or collection agency is the one that needs to prove to you that information. So they need to prove it to you. If you don't disagree with it, you send a dispute letter and you provide your information,
Here,
your support
here you have to go to the website. This is going to be everything
in the slides.
in the slide. Go to this webpage, consumerfinance.gov, and here you can download sample dispute letter you need to, and that one you can fill it out. And we always recommend sending it through email, to mail,
Through mail.
because they have if I'm not mistaken, like 45 days to answer you. You send through email, they can answer quickly. You just send through mail, with a certified mail. People are lazy by nature.
Yeah,
They have to
they
read a letter. If you didn't see it, then you use the time in your favor.
Yeah. So they typically have, and don't quote us on this because we don't know but it's like 30 to 45 days that they have to respond back to you, that dispute letter. If they don't respond back to you in that time frame,
They have to take out.
they have to take it out of your report.
Ooh.
Period. So that's why we recommend always mail it in. If you send it if you go to the bureau websites, you're gonna see that you can do it online in like 5 minutes. You can do it online. But they're gonna respond back to you quickly if you do that way. But if you do the mailing, they're gonna take long to process it, to reply back, and and by the time they do, oops, it's already 30 days.
Plus-
45.
Or
Plus,
45
you have to
days.
certified letter it if you mail it.
Correct.
For people to know if they got it, where email, you can just
Correct.
add yourself to it and.
Yeah, because when you certify
CC.
mail,
Yeah.
so use a certified mail. That way you use the time in your favor.
Yeah.
And this next slide, this is the information of all 3 credit bureaus. That way you know where to call if you find something you can help. They can help you.
Yes.
The next one. This is really important. If you're not planning to use your credit like tomorrow, always freeze your credit score. What is the freeze doesn't mean like that your credit score go. Freeze means like no one can use your credit score to open new account. Why we say that? Right, last year in identity theft in the US, if I'm not mistaken, was almost 50 or 70 billion dollars, and that number is going up every year. If your credit score is frozen, they cannot use it to open a new account. And you say, that's not going to happen to me. I work for one of the biggest technology company, and we were having a training the other day, and we have a hacker that knows one of the good guy. I said, you know how much it's going to take me to change your house deed to my name? I can do it in 10 minutes. And she telling one of the VP, only give me the only information that she needed was his birthday. With her birthday, she was able to go to the bank, change the house deed to her name in 10 minutes.
Wow.
Because he doesn't have all the information frozen. You think that's hard for them? People that are really good with the computer, they can do stuff in less than 10 minutes. In and out, and you lose your house, for example.
So here, all you have to do is you go to all of the 3 bureaus' websites, and you can just type, or you can just Google like freeze my score in Equifax, and then you just create like an account. It takes a couple minutes. You just create an account, and then you hit freeze, and that's it. If you are gonna get a mortgage, or you're gonna buy something, you're gonna do a hard inquiry. Right before you do it, you take your phone or you go online,
Or
you
they will
click
call
it,
you.
and it's automatic. Or you can call them.
No, they call you and say, we cannot check your credit because frozen. I'll give you 1 month.
Yes.
You're unfrozen. And you can put like even a timer to
Yes.
the account. Please freeze the account for 24
24
hours.
hours.
They can go from the credit score and it's going to automatically go back to be frozen.
Yeah.
But this is really,
Yeah.
in the time and age that we're living right now, this is your first line of defense against identity theft. And it's, every year they're becoming more savvy and even bigger.
I've actually, I know, you guys, through what you do with, I did Xander's Insurance, I got the identity theft thing, it's a couple $100 a year, but it's like they do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I get texts all the time from them, like when my check goes in, or if anything happens on my account, I get a text that tells me
Yep.
what's going on with it all the time.
Yeah, there are businesses that you can
It's very
pay.
cheap.
You
I
can
didn't-
pay
I didn't-
monthly or
I know
annually.
LifeLock does it,
Yeah.
but I went through the, Dave Ramsey, it
Mhm.
talked about the Sanders insurance.
Mhm.
It's only a couple $100 a year, but what a piece of money.
Mhm.
Someone trying to steal my mortgage.
Yep.
I should have done a long time ago, I'm sorry, cause I was a candidate, but I am a ID